President Trump working to revitalize America's energy landscape, including boosting domestic drilling and lowering oil and gas prices. The president himself telling Maria about the progress on Sunday Morning Futures. Watch this.
Oil is hitting low prices now. It's very, very low. We're in the 60s. I think we're going to go low. There's so much oil around, but Biden didn't let people use it. Biden closed up. You know, the inflation was caused by the oil. He started closing up the things we did. We had it down into the 50s and 60s. And, you know, when you look at that's per barrel, but we had it at one point at $1.98 a gallon. We had it at one point at $1.47 a gallon. I mean, think of that. You know what the difference is between that and having a bad economy? When you consider, that's like a big tax cut. You know, if you have oil, when you get oil down $1 or $2, that's like a big tax cut.
And you're at gasoline 4-year lows right now.
We're drilling like never before. That's how the oil got down low. A lot of countries aren't helping us too much with that. The oil's low because we are drilling. We have more oil and gas than any other country.
And joining me now is former Texas governor and former Energy Secretary Rick Perry. Governor, good morning. It's great to see you, sir.
And back at you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you tell me, what did you think of President Trump's comments there about the energy markets?
Well, that's pretty typical Donald Trump. He likes to see folks out there working and following his lead, and that's exactly what you're seeing in the energy industry right now. He's given them a task. You know, not just in the oil and gas industry, but also in the nuclear power industry. He signed a host of executive orders dealing with the nuclear side of things. So he understands baseload power. I mean, that's one of the things about President Trump is he is very knowledgeable about what it takes to drive an economy, and it's based on energy. So when you have a reasonable, easily accessible, economically feasible source of power, your economy is going to boom. He knows that, and that's what you're seeing play out today.
Well, you know, the state of Texas learned this, unfortunately, the hard way with the instability in the grid a couple of things about 2 years ago when you had all those storms and that you need a stable grid. And I know you're working on that, and I want to get to that in a second. But before we move on, where do you think that oil prices should be right now? Because Maria had an interview last week with a congressman. They were talking about, you know, that it may not be economical if oil prices get down as far as the production side. It becomes too expensive and not economically feasible for the companies, for these drilling companies or for oil companies, because you can't have $40 a barrel. You really need to be in that $60 range. Do you agree with that sentiment? Where would you like to see comfortably oil prices sit?
I do. I think these mid-60s folks can make money. We can make our economy work, and you know, gasoline prices. But again, this is a supply and demand. That's one of the things that President Trump understands is that, you know, you've got the supply, you got the demand. Let's keep them in balance the best we can. And his focus is on domestic production. That's the beauty of this. We're not having to rely upon other people for our energy. It's the reason that this LNG, the liquefied natural gas pause that the Biden administration put on our Gulf Coast gas export facilities was a very, very bad economic thing for America, and it's a bad message to our friends around the world. So making sure that we have the supply, the ready supply, the ability to export that, be the leader in the world, that's what President Trump expects, and that's what President Trump is going to see.
Oh, well, Governor, you are, and you've already mentioned this, but you're leading the charge on powering next-generation technology in America, and this is important to the state of Texas. Fermi America, that's the company that you've now co-founded. You're going to be building the world's largest energy and data center of its kind. It's going to be powered by nuclear, but also by nat gas and solar. So we're showing some images to our viewers of these renderings of what you're planning to build. This is going to be nearly 6,000 acres in the panhandle of Texas. And you want to produce enough energy to power more than 8 million homes by next year. Now, all this is set for launch July 4th, Governor. Tell us about these plans, and are you on track?
Yeah, that is on track. As a matter of fact, today we're announcing that we've got 600 megawatts of turbines headed our way. These are big Siemens units. But this goes right to President Trump's vision. President Trump is big and bodacious in his visions. He talked about he wanted the United States leading this artificial intelligence data center charge. And we took him up on it. And not a better place in the world to do it than Texas. I'm totally biased about that. But this piece of property is the perfect property. It's next door to the Pantex facility, which is the big Department of Energy facility that's been dealing with nuclear weapons and nuclear power for decades. It's right outside of Amarillo, Texas. They love that facility. They're ready to get started. It's sitting on top of I think, the second largest aquifer in the United States, the largest gas field in the United States. We've got two 42-inch gas pipelines right by it and a major digital fiber network that goes right through the property. The interstate and the rail line and Amarillo Airport is within 3 miles. This is the perfect place to build the world's largest data center, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Yeah, well, and those have been talked about, and that is why Texas, that economy is booming so well. Before you go, I do want to ask you about this, just to switch gears real quick. President Trump has made a lot of progress on securing the border. I mean, incredible progress. Illegal crossings at record lows now. And the Defense Department is creating military zones in Texas and Arizona because they want to crack down further and make sure that the border stays secure. The federal government wants to pick up construction of the border wall in Texas after state lawmakers cut funding for that barrier, but just small fragments have been built so far. Homeland Security is issuing this new waiver that would accelerate construction. I want to get your reaction to that. It's understandable that Texas would pull back funds from the border wall because it's secured. President Trump secured it. But now the feds are going to take over. Your reaction?
Well, it's always been the federal responsibility. When I was governor, we, confronted Obama about the issue of what was happening down there and allowing people to cross the border. And then in the Biden administration, we saw the complete abrogation of the responsibility of the federal government to be building that wall. Thank God, Governor Abbott and the leadership in the Texas legislature took up that task. That's not Texas' responsibility. That's the federal government's responsibility to defend that border. Yeah. And let me say, the idea that there was no people illegally crossing identifiable last month is a stunning number. Anybody in the United States that can't say, you know what, that is the way it's supposed to be. Come through the regular ways to immigrate into the United States. Let us know who you are. And the idea that it was zero last month, what a great victory for Donald Trump and the people of the United States.
Governor Perry, it's always great to see you, sir. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. God bless you.
All right, you too, sir.